Should a foundation make you question your sanity? Today we are talking the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation, and for me, this was a very confusing foundation.
I do not want to put this foundation on.
It is really pretty. Nars says that this has medium buildable coverage, a natural finish, breathable all-day wear, suitable for most skin types, and skin-friendly for acne-prone. Maybe that should have been a red flag for me. As you may have guessed from my introduction, I had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this foundation, so let's get to the testing. This foundation oxidizes quite a bit, and I really wanted to show you just how much it does. So I'm applying a little on the back of my hands. We're going to wait 5 minutes and then compare that dry down one to fresh. It's day 1, so it's no primer day. I think it's important to know how these foundations work without primers. Also, for this side of my face, I'm using fingers to apply it. Fingers are really my go-to method for applying foundation. I like how my fingers warm it up. I feel like a lot of foundations perform really well that way. Also, I really appreciate it when a foundation isn't picky about how it gets applied. This is really nice coverage. I am seeing that it is covering over my redness quite nicely. I don't have a lot of dark spots, so I'm not a good candidate for measuring that. But given the coverage, I don't think it would have a problem with that. Now I'm going to use my IT Cosmetics for Ulta Airbrush 101. This is my current favorite foundation brush. It's got good density, it's got good stiffness. It's not too stiff, it's not too dense, it's not too loosey-goosey. I feel like Goldilocks. It is applying very nicely with the brush. It has been 5 minutes, and you will see here there is quite a bit of oxidation with this product. Here's my final makeup look for today. It's been about an hour since I put the foundation on. I will say that at a normal human distance, it is beautiful. I feel like this is really a little bit more than medium coverage. It certainly dealt with the redness in my cheeks nicely. I don't really have any age spots, so I can't use that as a gauge, but it looks so pretty. Now, I made the mistake. I used my 10x mirror, right? Does anything look good in a 10x mirror? I don't think so. Having said that, it clearly is accentuating pores very close up, not that you can see from a normal human distance. I think that might have to do with the fact that I don't have primer on today. I set this foundation using Beauty Bakery setting powder, and then when I was all done with my makeup, I used a very light dusting of Hourglass's Mineral Veil finishing powder. Let's see how it wears. It has been 8 hours since I put this foundation on, and I gotta say, it has not fared well. It is broken up around my chin, it's broken up in this area, it has settled into fine lines and wrinkles, and while some people may call this a dewy or luminous look, to me, I just feel shiny. Here's a close-up. Yay, it's primer day, and I have primed my face using the Laura Geller Spackle Skin Perfecting Primer, which is a hydrating primer. And today I've got a damp beauty blender, so let's see how that works. So for comparison, here and here. And of course, because it's a damp beauty blender, I feel like it is a much sheerer application of the foundation. Now, based on some experience I had with this foundation before I started filming, I am really going to go in around my nose and my chin with quite a bit extra product. Now that I've worked that in with my fingers, I'm just gonna lightly go over it with the damp beauty blender. After checking in my 7x magnification mirror, there are no issues applying this with a beauty blender, nor did I expect to have any. Color me absolutely confused. I actually shot footage a few days ago of what should have been day one for this video. And what I realized was I had a little dry patch of skin, and also I applied a ton of this foundation the first day. Check it out. You can see I'm using my fingers and I just put so much on. Having said that, that evening, this was my report. This foundation has worn really well. It is not worn off my nose. It's not worn off my chin. From a normal person distance, it still looks really good. If you need a foundation that's going to give you at least a solid 8 hours, this looks like a really good candidate. So today, after not stellar performance by this foundation yesterday, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put more on my nose and my chin because that's where it wore off, trying to replicate that original day one coverage. A normal distance, it looks fine. But when I look close up, it is completely gone off my chin, broken up on my upper lip, settled into everything. So I'm completely at a loss. How can this be the same foundation? Today my goal is to really get back to the coverage that I had on that first day one that wasn't really my first day one, and just see if I can make this foundation work, because I feel like it has some really good qualities. If I can make it work, I can definitely see it having a place in my foundation wardrobe. So I'm applying with my fingers again today and using what feels like a ton of product. I will say that is one drawback of getting the Sephora samples, is you don't know how much a pump is. Our early blooming plants are starting to do just that here in Seattle, and my allergies are driving me crazy, and so I have a very runny nose, and until this foundation sets up, that runny nose is wearing off the foundation. So I'm gonna go take some allergy medicine and touch this up before I powder or do any of the rest of my makeup. I feel like I am at the height of frustration with this foundation. I took my allergy medicine, waited a half hour, and I gotta say, while I'm there, you need to wait about 5 to 10 minutes for this foundation to dry. It stays tacky. If you're working with cream products, it's not so bad, but powders I felt like were getting a little gummy if I didn't wait for it to set up. I reapplied under my nose where it had run off because of allergies. If I don't look too closely, I think that this is such a pretty foundation. But even looking in a non-magnified mirror, it's drying, it's accentuating texture. This is just not a great, at least winter, foundation for me. We are having an amazingly sunny day in winter in Seattle, which is a rarity. So I had to come out and get this foundation in the sunlight. I realized that my closet actually might have better representation of indoor lighting. There is a bright LED fixture above head here. And so you can see what this foundation looks like under artificial lighting. This is a 10-hour check-in today here on day 3, and I'm certainly not feeling dry anymore, but as you can see, it's quite shiny. I chose not to use setting powder this morning because it felt so incredibly drying when I put this foundation on, and it has accentuated everything it could possibly accentuate. I don't have bad texture. I don't have large pores, but this foundation sure makes it look like I have really awful texture and very large pores. not good. Here are my final thoughts. Clearly, I did not end up liking this foundation. It did not last long. It did not wear well. It did a good job of covering redness. I have to give it that. I also know that a lot of YouTubers are loving this foundation. In fact, Lisa J says it's her new holy grail. Well, she's a bit younger than me and she has oily skin. I do think that if you have oily or combo skin, that this might be a really good foundation for you. But if you have normal to dry skin, I do not see it working well. They make a big deal about the skincare in this foundation, and that seems to be a trend lately with a lot of the foundations, that they're skincare and foundation. I don't want skincare in my foundation. Leave it alone. Let the foundation be foundation. If you would like to see a foundation review of something I actually liked, there is a card up here right now for you. And in just a moment on the end screen, there will be my foundations playlist as well as another foundation I think you'd like. Thank you so much for joining me and have a fantastic day.